Jeremy, welcome home. It's great to see you, especially here on Canada Day. How are you today?
I'm pretty excited to be here for Canada Day, and it is great to be back on planet Earth. The experience I had flying around the moon and seeing the Earth from the perspective of the moon, it just gave me this sense of gratitude for what we have, and also just reinforced something inside of all of us that we know we have to collaborate and work together. And so being here on Canada Day, a moment in time when we as Canadians come together across our nation to celebrate what we do together for one another, is a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Sir, one of the topics that we heard about, and it became almost a theme, is this idea of moon joy. For those who are working to integrate that, especially you're a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, the Air Force, how can leaders perhaps bring those softer skills, that consideration of integrity and love and joy, moon joy, into a military leadership environment? Can you help us connect those dots? This is a question from a friend, Emily, within the military, and so she'd like to know.
This idea of moon joy, I think, first of all, is simply people resonating with working together and lifting one another up. And so people watched our crew and our much broader team accomplish something really hard, really challenging, but at the same time have a lot of fun doing it because we were lifting and supporting one another. And that was hard fought. And we put a lot of effort into making sure that as a team, we invested in understanding one another, in lifting one another up when we were having low moments. We weren't always in joy all the time. It wasn't necessarily easy, but it was always our intention, and intentions matter. And so for leaders, I don't think it's much more complicated than making sure that you're communicating the intention here is that we accomplish the mission, but at the same time, we support one another to the best that we can, to the best of our ability, and allowing each person, just recognizing that each person has something positive to contribute, and they're going to be joyful if they're allowed to bring their contribution and their meaning to the mission. I've obviously worked with a lot of leaders in my career, both military, non-military. I've never found that, one of the requirements was this sort of rigid, inaccessible leader. I've never even seen that professed by our leadership, and the leaders who connected with me most are the ones who were just very open and transparent, honest. We're setting goals, commander's intent. What are we trying to get done? As long as we're working towards accomplishing the goal, there's nothing required that it has to be rigid and inaccessible. It can just be focused.
To the youth who will be in audience today, what is your message of persistence or resilience to pursue those big dreams?
From my perspective, what's important that we're communicating to our youth is that they should set goals or objectives that they want to achieve. They don't have to be career goals, it could be short-term goals. But most importantly, they need to share those goals with other people, with family, mentors, teachers, because you don't do anything of significance in your life without challenge and without help. And I do feel like that is maybe misunderstood, that successful people do it on their own or go through life on their own, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I think Artemis II is a great visual example of that. Look how many people it took coming together, working together to fly 4 humans around the far side of the moon and back to Earth safely. We don't do anything by ourselves in life, we do things as a team. So leaning into that help is important for people to understand. You're not a failure because you don't know how to do something, but you're a failure if you don't ask for help and you don't let others lift you up over the challenges.
Love that. There was conversation in some of your full crew presentations about your efforts and your impact in constructing the bungee jail. Given it was the first one you built, how do you navigate when you're the only first person in space on that crew and you're trying things out where they're all in a position of experience? How could someone in a similar situation navigate with your lessons?
Yeah, definitely the conversation around the bungee jail was more about, laughter and levity around something that was really insignificant and didn't matter. It wasn't a stressful evolution. But as a first-time flyer, there is a lot of pressure to show up for your teammates. I lacked that experience when I got there. But it was easy for me to navigate because I had a great team. There was never this expectation from my 3 crewmates that we couldn't work together to accomplish whatever we needed to do. And like I was saying before, it's important that you're willing to ask for help. It's important that you're willing to say when you don't know something or you would like some advice. And there's nothing wrong with that. We don't need to feel any shame or insecurity around that. You know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. Just be honest with yourself and others, and don't sweat that stuff.
That's grand.
Air Cadets was one of the most important decisions that I made in my life. I didn't know it at the time, but when I look back, Air Cadets gave me a lot of tools that I still use today. For one, it taught me self-confidence. It was pushing me into places that I wasn't really comfortable being, and that was important to prepare me for the future challenges. It also taught me about being a good Canadian citizen, started to teach me how to become or how to think about being a leader and a good follower, and of course, it taught me to fly. And soloing a glider for the first time at the age of 16 was an enormous boost in my self-confidence, which has served me ever since. So I have a lot of gratitude for the Air Cadet program and those who serve it, but then a lot of tremendous respect for every single Air Cadet out there who invests in themselves, who makes that choice week after week to put on their uniform and to go through that disciplined process, which isn't all fun and games. Some of it is fun, some of it is not. And so my hat is off to you, all of the cadets across Canada. You're making an investment in yourself and in Canada's future.